This guy wrote me asking about a woman that he's potentially trying to see, but she's mentioned that she has depression and he's wondering if he should pull back or see if she comes back to him. So he says, I'm curious. If she says, quote, I probably won't be able to watch anime with you anytime soon. I don't know why. Must just be depression. Should I listen and pull back and see if she comes back eventually? So there's more to the story that's going to give more clarification to what he's talking about. For now, I say this. Dating is very easy. When women want to see you, they help you, and when they don't, they won't. Usually, even if they have depression, if they like you, it'll be like, I'm depressed and I don't feel like it today, but I'm going to want to see you at such and such a time. I can say that. I've never had depression, but I've had female friends who have had depression, and yet they still manage to date and just are able to communicate with their significant others on when they're not feeling so hot, all right? Anyway, he says, we're artist friends and long distance, so we often draw online together with our friends in a voice call. She's barely been hanging out with them too, so it's not just me. Well, this is the mistake that a lot of guys make. They'll say, well, because she's doing this for everybody else, then it's not that she doesn't like me, it's just she's going through a thing. Could that be true? Yes, but again, I find that usually the guy that they're highly interested in is the exception and is typically placed on a higher pedestal than even her friends. So the fact that she's already treating you like her friends and such that when she's going through something, she's not trying to talk to them or you, that's not a good thing, guy. That's really not. On top of the fact that you're building a rapport with her based on hanging out with other people, that doesn't mean that she's liking you any more than she likes them. On top of the fact that it's long distance. Traditionally, long distance relationships don't really typically tend to work out unless one person's planning to eventually move towards where the other person is. So this is already kind of dead in the water just based on the stuff you've listed here so far. But continuing on, he says, she hasn't acted like her old self in months and has trouble doing basic daily tasks. Part of her depression is she's afraid of drawing, and she says she struggles to hang out online because she associates it with her fear of drawing. So now this is starting to not make sense because she has a fear of drawing, but she's in a drawing group. Like, that doesn't really match up. So if I could see how, like, if she says she hated drawing, but she met you there and she likes you and so she keeps doing it because she wants to have interactions with you, I can see that being a thing. But essentially she's saying she joined a group to do something she doesn't want to do and she's torturing herself. Does this sound like a mentally sound person that you should be going out with? Things to consider. Continuing, he says, sometimes I try to invite her to hang with me, and she says she'll try and will sometimes apologize later that she didn't manage to bring herself to join me. So again, Star Wars, do or do not. There is no try. Women that want to see you will either make plans or you'll make a plan with them and they'll agree to it and they'll keep the plan. Now, you might be thinking, well, it's because she's depressed. Okay, let's go with the theory that she's depressed, right? Are you getting the results you want? Because whether she's depressed or not, the end result is she's not showing up to see you. How can you build a bond and connection with somebody if they're not willing to meet up with you, regardless of what kind of condition they have going on? So whether she has depression or not, you're not getting to grow a better bond with her. Therefore, you are effectively out. Continuing, he says, before her depressive episodes, we got very close and I made sure to flirt and hint that I liked her. And though she's very timid, she would flirt back sometimes and say, you and me type of stuff, as if imagining we're a couple. She was also receptive to my advances to hang out one-on-one. Okay, so this is the thing where you're being flirtatious and she's doing it occasionally, possibly because she doesn't want to look like the bad guy in the situation. She wants to be able to act like, oh, he's telling me all this stuff and he's hinting that he likes me, so I guess I'll acquiesce to it because it's not like I'm seeing him in person, so I don't have to actually prove that I like him, so I'll say a few things here and there. But you got to look beyond just what she's saying to you. Are her actions indicative of a woman that is highly interested? I'm not talking about just borderline bland interest, but like highly interested, because you only want to go after women that ideally are going to be showing high interest back. Let's see where this goes. He says, the thing that makes me afraid that I pushed her away, though, is that we had arranged for me to visit her in real life for a couple weeks, and she sounded excited and often suggested different things we can do together on different days. When I arrived, she said she was sick/busy/tired, and due to a family emergency, I had to go home and we only hung out one day. She did say she hopes we can meet back up sooner than later. Well, Guy, I need you to really start thinking about the cost-benefit analysis of the situation, all right? I don't know if you had to fly to this woman or if you had to drive to her or if you had to ride a bike in town. I don't know if you're old enough to ride a bike or not. But the point is that you spent time, effort, energy, and money to set up a plan only for her last minute to be like, oh, I can't do it. Something happened. And I'd say the odds of that happening are very slim. And just to help you understand that I feel you, bro. There was a woman one time that I was trying to see long distance, and for the first month, talking was going great, and then it kind of started to waver, in part because at the time, I wasn't following the rule of texting kills attraction, and I was over-texting to where I was starting to text things that, she didn't really like. Not anything mean or anything like that, but just like, it just started to get monotonous and boring. And so I made a plan to come see her, and like the day before I'm about to fly out to see her, she's like, oh, somebody in my family died. How are you? Now, I don't know if somebody died or not, but the point is that I can't even check that information. All I know is we were going smoothly, and then she said her somebody in her family died, and I was like, oh, that sucks. So then she says the funeral is X day, whatever, but like the time I was going to be flying in, I was going to still be there 2 days after she got back. At no time was she like, hey, if you're still in town, I'd love to see you. This is Nat. Which leads me to believe, A, the person she's talking about probably did not die, but B, even if that person did, I wasn't on a high enough priority list for her to want to actually see me, because I was in the process. I was dating somebody one time where, as I was dating them, their parent died, and they wanted me at the funeral. They wanted to be able to come talk to me when they were, feeling really sad about it. Like, again, it's a difference between women that like you, women that don't, because even women that are going through hard times, if they like you, they're going to want you there as that distraction to get them out of their head. This isn't that case. Therefore, you have to surmise that the fact that she didn't mind having you waste all this money and time and then just blow you off, is that somebody you want to be with? So anyway, so he says, yeah, she hopes we can meet up later. Then he says, but when I asked to revisit her, she said, we can try, there's that word again, we can try to meet up, but sounded reluctant and not excited, only offering to meet one day, saying she'll be busy with the holidays. Oh, go back and watch my shows about why you don't plan dates with women during the holidays, because they're typically busy. And it's even worse for a woman that's really not all that interested, because now she can use the holidays as an excuse to not be able to see you at any single time, because every single hour and minute of the waking day during the entire 2 weeks of Christmas, she's not going to have any time whatsoever to even meet with you for lunch or dinner, even though you're willing to make that sacrifice. And again, I'm not saying she's wrong or right for that, because holidays can be busy, but just understand that, again, women that like you will make the exception to the rule. But you haven't known her long enough or met up with her in person enough for her to even consider you being that exception in her life, all right? So continuing, he says, I ended up saying I'll stay home since she seems busy, and we never mentioned revisiting again. Is this just due to her depression and not wanting to hang because she feels she won't be at her best self, or did she possibly feel pushed away by me being needy and wanting to revisit so soon? Well, if I'm being honest, based on the evidence that you've given thus far, it just sounds like she was in a group with you and some other people online and trying to just be friends. You took whatever she was saying with you as possible flirtation and interest on her side, and it really wasn't there. And now she's trying to backpedal any potential interest she showed you by flirting accidentally. But nothing here that I've seen indicates to me that she ever had any kind of high interest, because everything's been, I'm going to try to see you. Oh, you're in town. Oh, something came up, so I can't see you. Holidays. Oh, I'll try to see you. Oh, but I might be busy in advance because I'm going to already get my excuse up in my head, so that way I know what to tell you when I say you can't make it. Like, none of this is reading as she's had an interest to begin with. I think sometimes as men, we project whatever our high interest is onto the women that we want, and we are blinded to the actions that they're showing or not showing that would be better indicators of where their like for us actually is in this process, all right? Continuing, he says, I know I've made the mistake of planning to revisit her during the holidays. You did, which can make her feel like I already decided she's the one. I talked about that in that video. He says, I'm trying to keep your advice in mind to give her space and not come off needy or throw my feelings at her. After a while, should I be the one to suggest... Sorry. After a while, should I be the one to suggest revisiting one more time to see if she sounds excited? Dude, I want you to observe, of the two of you, who's reaching out more? Because in my experience, women that like you will reach out to you, oftentimes before you do. And they'll reach out to you giving these hints to indicate that they actually want to see you. Or, hey, I wonder if you're busy this day. Or, oh, it'd be so nice to do this thing with you. Has this woman done that? If she has not at any time reached out to you first to say, hey, how you doing? Was thinking about you. I'd like to see you. When are you free? When are you not busy? Then it means that all the interest is one-sided and that you should consider if you continue to ask her out is going to be beneficial, given that she keeps saying she'll try to see you versus saying, I'd love to see you. I can't wait to see you. I will make time to see you. I will drop everyone and everything when you come into town to be able to specifically see you. If that's not happening, then you need to consider that you may be wasting your time. Continuing, he says, during the worst of her depressive episode, and by the way, we don't even actually know if this woman has depression. Like, she's saying she has depression, but this could really just be a tactic to be able to like try to make sure this guy doesn't build any more interest in her. Sometimes women will think, okay, I don't want to see this guy, but I don't want to directly say that. So let me just come up with some stuff that I can say about myself or that I have or that I am that will hopefully cause this guy to let go of me so he can be the one to be the bad guy and say, oh, this is why we can't see each other, versus me, the woman, having to do that because I don't want to do that and hurt his feelings, even though not seeing you and ignoring you and all this other stuff is actually really hurting your feelings. But the point is, that's how women operate sometimes. And so she could be saying she has depression and you don't actually know that for sure. But anyway, he says, during the worst of her depressive episode, she responded slower and didn't really flirt back anymore. It's not because she's depressed, dude. It's because she probably isn't that highly interested. I'm sorry. I don't like me to be this direct, but I don't like beating around the bush. You know, I call it as I see it. And I've dated enough women to know that when women are going through their sad times, their bad times, if they like you, they still want to either put on a good show or be able to tell you, hey, I'm not really feeling great about stuff, but I still care about you. Please come over to see me to cheer me up. This isn't happening. So either way, whether she has this depression or not, she's not indicating that she wants you to be the person to cheer her up, if anything else. Continuing, he says, but recently she started to flirt back when I initiate. She's traditional and doesn't really flirt with other guy friends. You don't know that. I only really see her flirt in DMs with me, but not on phone calls, not on FaceTimes, just in DMs. Big red flag. He says, sorry for the long question, but if you or anyone has an opinion, I'd greatly appreciate it. Maybe I'll send this as a question to your inbox. So I've already answered it on the video. Basically, guy, this does not look to me like a situation where the woman is actually interested, nor do I think that she actually has depression. I think that she's just using it as a tactic in this instance to be able to throw you off the scent, all right? But with that said, I think I'm actually going to do a second video altogether talking about depression because this was already 14 minutes long, and I have much more to say about depression and why you should avoid women like that altogether. I'll say for this particular situation, though, is that if she had depression, look at how hard it was to try to meet up with her. Do you want to have to continue that fight to try to get somebody to go out with you? If you don't, then maybe this particular person that has depression is not right for you. I'd say it leans more towards her having low interest, so I would forego trying to ask her out. I'd say continue on in the group chat with her if you guys are groupally doing things, but in terms of you and her doing stuff solo, wait for her to bring it up. If she happens to bring it up and actually says, hey, you know what, I'll come out to see you, then it's worth your time. If not, I'd say I wouldn't personally deal with it. I feel as though there's other women out there. There's too many women out there that either aren't depressed or will actually show you interest to deal with somebody you have to fight to try to get their time. Because somebody that really likes you, you won't have to do all that. So hopefully, guy, this helps you out. Like I said, I'm going to make a part 2 video, so be sure to check out that video whenever I put it out. and probably right after this one. But yeah, so for the rest of you guys, be sure to go to my website. If you need help figuring out your dating life, the ins and outs of situations you're dealing with, or you just want to become a more confident dater, then I highly recommend going to introvertdatingsuccess.com and signing up for my freebie, as well as checking out my various coaching programs and one-on-one consultations, all designed to be able to help you figure out how to date as your introverted self while still getting your alone time. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video, and I will catch you guys on part 2. All right, peace.
You need to call her on her cell phone.